it, Dominic.
Nice. So, hello to this Window Youth Editing seminar. It is a tradition prior to face-to-face seminar to have also some online webinars to build our anticipation and team chemistry ahead of our meeting. So we will have two sessions about editing, and since many of you were also in the previous face-to-face seminar in Sevilla and also on some webinars, and also with some of you we have worked also in other also podcast projects. There are two things. The one thing is that since there are two editing sessions, it will be nice to do something interactive today, and the next time do something where you are doing editing at the same time. So there is an editing activity while you do it. We do it step by step, but you are also editing in a software. So until next week, we can arrange which are the softwares that you can download so you can, at the time of the seminar, also play with it. And then today there is an activity that is a bit different from what we did with Santi, if you remember, before the Sevilla training. But before that, I want you to think, not just make the question in order not to think. We will have some time, 2-3 minutes to think based on what you have done until now. What are some things that you would like to know about editing that, I don't know, you have already worked and you have a difficulty with, you have, it scares you a bit. Okay, if I go into editing, this is the thing that I'm not feeling familiar with. What are your thoughts on editing on podcasting? And because editing is a thing that involves the recording part and everything before, any thoughts that have to do with the podcasting creation? And we can write those in the chat so I can take them into account for today's session, which is the one prior to the one where you're going to play with the software. So let's think of that for 2-3 minutes. Write on the chat so you can gather your thought. And then we go from there. And we will find another song for the thinking part if it helps. One moment to see what we have
Sorry,
here.
Dom, can you ask again? Because I couldn't really follow the question.
Yes. Now that we're going to do two seminars about editing, before doing those seminars, I would like to know from your part things that have to do with editing a podcast that are in your mind. Maybe things that you find difficult, things that you don't know how to do, things that you would like to be discussed, anything around editing on podcast and podcasting in general, if there is some other aspect that really is stuck in your mind and you're afraid to work with it, or by the experience that we had. For example, for those of you that were in Sevilla, there was a circle where you did the editing of your podcast, and at the time that you did that, what were some things that work, didn't work, you would like them to work better but you didn't know how to, those things. Okay, one more minute and then we proceed. Siavas, you have connection problem, you mean, if I understand correctly.
I mean, I have your sound, but the pictures is, not very
A
clear.
bit, I think maybe it's a connection issue. I hope it gets better.
And in Europe, I mean, my connection is okay, but it's much better now.
Now it's better? That's good.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. Thank you very much for your attention.
Super. So let's go a bit through the messages. How to use effects and where to find them. Is there any web that provides different voice and sound effects? There are many sound effect libraries that somebody that wants to go into more professional and clear sounds, there are options of sound libraries where you can usually register for a specific fee and buy, for example, packages of sounds, like you can have 100 downloads, let's say. So it is 100 sounds. And when you download the sound, this is a sound that you can use. And of course, there is this is the professional way to do it. But also, in many times in our cases, if you go to YouTube, for example, and you're searching for a sound effect, there are many options, and it is easy to download sounds from websites, YouTube to MP3, for example, and take a sound that is free license, free to use. So that is an option. Then for the voice effects, many times it has to do with the software that you're using, because some softwares have some voice effects that are already options within the software. And also in many softwares, you can have add-ons where you can find and add more also effects. Usually, also something that I say many times is that when you want to do something specific, then if you can write the specific questions of what you are searching, then you will have the specific answer of how to achieve this voice. So if you want, for example, to achieve in your software, I want to make my voice sound like it's coming from a television, then you can type that and you can have a step-by-step guide for almost any question that you have on how you can do that. So that is always helpful, because what we need to all to understand when we are editing is that if you learn the way of thinking and how to be familiar with the technique of editing within your software, then also the technique of researching something specific, it's a tool that you need to have. How to research my specific answers, for example. Then I see from yes, Alex.
Papa Eduard just mentioned that we need to be careful about copyrights from YouTube
Yes.
Effect Audio.
Yes, there are many times you can see that it is specific on the title, the free for use, free license options. And also through the sound libraries is something that then you can do it specifically very correctly, let's say professionally. Then Elena says about a good transition between a recorded part and a piece of music. And this is very much what we have said a bit about the fading, which is one of the main things that for sound editing, it's something for sound editing for podcast that you will need to use when you are using specifically music parts. For example, the opening part, because usually in the intro there is a music theme. The way of fading out this or fading in when the episode ends, it's something that we can see today, and it's something that through the fading effect, you can easily transition smoother than hardly cutting, let's say, the music and then going to the recording part. Tell content, be able to tell content that's relevant to the audience and that can hook them. So this is not an editing observation, but it is a podcasting observation, and also this is a bit philosophical of if you want to make a content based on what the audience would like, or if you would like to make something that you like and hope that the audience is hooked, which usually I'm in the second category. Like if it's something that is important to you, this is the best thing that you can also give the audience, because if it's something that it's tailor-made to the audience, you don't have enough of passion to deliver it to them. So find the thing that you really like and then learn all the simple parts of, okay, how I will edit it, what kind of tools do I have? It's going to be a monologue, a dialogue, a narrative, a narration, a scripted. I know everything, but it is about the thing that I really like. So it's a very thin line between focusing a lot on the marketing of the episode before creating it. It's good to create it as best as you can and then see, okay, how this product can be marketed the best that we can. So this goes to the promotion part, which is also important. That's why in every seminar, even if it is from away or face-to-face, we have this element of, okay, the third part is the promotion. We want people to hear them, or else we would write them by ourselves and not upload them anywhere. Then, from Santi, for me, something difficult is how to unite different elements within the podcast. For example, the external sounds with the sound of our voices, silences, etc. So yes, this is something very, very also important, which now in this one has to do with different things. For example, it is the transition sometimes, how we blend, there is a music part and then the voice part and then something else. Then it is the level part. So the audio level part of, okay, my voice is here, so the sound effect comes maybe a bit here, and then I want to lower the voice because then I want a high sound, and how we play with the audio levels, which is very important. And also it's getting familiarity with the idea of every editing software that we play in tracks. So it's blocks. So you're building something that it is a voice. It can be just a voice with cuts, or it is a voice and a sound effect and music and then another sound effect, and then you play with your channel. So this is the basic idea of editing in podcasting. If you get familiar with, okay, there is one sound and I'm building my tracks that are playing together, and then I have to hear very well in order to understand the audio levels. This is the basic thing. If you get that, then everything else works easier. Then Alexia talks about noise reduction, which is also important, and it's also dangerous because there is this is also needs practice, because sometimes, for example, there is an air condition sound, and when you have the recording, you hear it, and you want to cut it, and there are in softwares like I think in Adobe Audition, in Adobe Premiere, in most of them. There are, and based on experience, you will see that on your softwares, the noise reduction option. But if you do it harshly, then it will affect the recorded voice, because it will cut frequencies that involved the voice in order to cut the sound that you want to cut, and then that can cause to not being able to hear the voice of the podcaster well. So this is something that we can also see of how we can do some noise reduction, and it has to be elegant, let's say. some general ideas about what is a good editing. So again, there are like in films, let's say, there is no correct way to edit, but there are tools that, if you have it in mind, you can take decisions based on those things. Like there is the rhythm, let's say, which rhythm is very central to podcasting as well. So you will decide for your content of what is the rhythm that you like. It may be a slow tempo, it may be up tempo, it may be something that has variations in tempo. When you want it to breathe, when you want to be very quick, when you want to stop and have a music break, when all these are decisions that has to do with the rhythm. So rhythm is very important. Then there is apart from things that are subjective, like the rhythm, there are the objective things of the quality. Okay, can I hear the podcast well? Is it when the listener will put it in his ear, are the audio level of the podcaster clear so I can hear it? So that is very, very, very important also. So having a clear result, which also has to do with the equipment, for example, the recording conditions where you record correctly to your microphone, and when you are in a room, there is no outside noises that make it more difficult to hear. These are all important steps in order to have a clear to hear result, let's say. Sorry about the cough. Give me one moment. And later I will speak less, so that will be easier.
We can add it on the editing.
Yes, for example, this would be something that I would cut. But if I wanted to make it like more personal, maybe I would leave it in. So you see, it depends on what you want to do. So smooth cutting is what Maria says. So smooth cutting also means that, for example, there are podcasts that we do that are dialogue podcasts. So there is more than one person talking, and they are making a non-formal conversation, which sounds very natural. So what is important is for someone to hear that and assume that he's somewhere in the room with us, which means that he must not notice the editing. When we speak, for example, and there is a part that we want to cut, we have to be very careful of, for example, the breathing sound. We can hear it. So if you cut a breath in half, the listener can hear that here there was a cut. So you have to be very careful in order to cut parts without, when you hear it again, the listener does not understand it. So this also has to do with tone in the voice. If I am shouting and then I want to cut a part, but then in the next part I am very calm, something there doesn't go. So it has the smoothness is very linked with the aspect of not understanding the editing, to be subconsciously the editing. But this has to do, for example, in dialogue. If it is a more artistic kind of narration that is a scripted, for example, podcast, again, smooth cutting has to do with all the elements that are going to be involved. How the voice comes. When you have, for example, a background music, there is a tempo on the background music. If the moment that your voice starts speaking has to match the music that plays at the same time. It cannot be, okay, 1, 2, 3 seconds bop. You have to hear the music. And when it is the right moment to start the voice. And if you start the music and the music is louder, do I want to fade and then start the voice? These are actual choices that have to do with smoothness in the cutting of a podcast. What if I want to have some sort of effect of my podcast? Pretend like someone speaks from a different room. Should I record it from the room next door to me, or should I regularly record it and try to give the effect after? I think that specifically in podcasting microphones, especially those that are of better quality, if you are in the next room, it maybe also don't record anything on it. So maybe then you have two choices. You can pretend to be on another room, but be just 2 meters away to try to shout and see what is the recording result that you get. But there is absolutely the option of doing it on the post, like in the editing. So you do it on the microphone in a separate recording track, and then you work on the effects in order to be able to sound like the voice is coming from another room, which means that if it's coming from another room, there are specific things that it has to be lower than the main, let's say, voice. You start with that. Then, because it is from another room, it has more air in it. So you change aspects that are in there. And there comes the aspect that no question on your research is stupid, because if you say, I want to make this effect of me speaking from another room and I am working Adobe Premiere, let's say, there is a step-by-step guide for that. So if you are familiar with editing, then when you get to the point where you want to try something, you will find the answer on it. And Vaso, have you raised your hand?
Yes. Can you move 1 meter to see how it works? Like you have the microphone to record.
To go out there, yeah. If I try to do it like that, it sounds okay. You get the
sound.
Yes. But
Thank
I could
you.
do it like that and do the same thing. So it's also a delivery aspect, because if you are far away, maybe you feel like more like shouting something. So again, it's how you like to create as well. Some techniques to calm down the voice when speaking before the mic. We had some seminars in the past about that. These are more actor techniques that can be used in podcasting. I don't know if Alex, Vaso, anyone, there was the pen one. There are some, most of them are warm-up voice that you can apply to podcasting that you also do as an actor. I don't know what you see, Vaso, and you start speaking. There are some, but I don't want to say. But this is also something that can be found. But actors warm-up exercises for your voice, since you're going to be actually voice acting, even if it's not acting, they are applicable.
We can link the webinar we had maybe from the project.
Yes, we can. Yes, Alex?
Yes, we have a specific webinar that is only about this. So there are some specific exercises that you can do with a pen or something.
From Barbara from Italy, who was
and
amazing.
Julia knows also. Yeah.
Julia knows if she wants to tell us her top 5. No. Okay. Then regulate the audio so it's more effective. George, when you say effective, what do you mean? If George hears us, also you can write me after or in the chat room, so we can set that. Then need good and free of charge program for editing. Yes, we will come to that as well. Of sounds of the environment, like the ambient sounds. For example, ambient sounds, it's also what I did say about sound effects applies also in ambient sounds and when you want to create an environment. So there are libraries where you can find very, very specific, like, I don't know, Cuba in the summer in a street full of people, I don't know. Through sound libraries, there is a much more better quality and quantity of options. But again, there are also options of free of use, for example, from YouTube as an example. And also there, if you want and have time and you want to play with it, you can build again, multiple tracks of, okay, I have my air sounds, but there is also some birds chirping, and there is different sound effects. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is a larger wind at one time, and then there is a music, but from a street artist. So you make the music like it's played on the street. So you add some specific effects, and you build the ambient that you want step by step. If you don't find the exact thing that you want in one sound, let's say. And it's also a nice exercise to, for example, with your just with your mobiles, to have an idea of an ambience and record the ambience at the place where it actually happens. So you take this sound effect, you save it on your phone, you send it to your laptop where you do your editing, and then you add this specific audio that you recorded, which is very original, for example. And if you have more professional equipment for taking sound, then you do it like that. But you don't need that, especially if it is a podcast. It can work very well with sounds that are taken from a phone, like, for example, because it sounds like it's not. It came from your hand, so it's a bit more personal, let's say. Is there any AI that can help us on editing part? I know, for example, that in the later versions of Adobe Premiere that I haven't downloaded, but I know that, for example, there are options where you are doing a recording, and then there is an option with the help of AI to cut all the air parts, the parts where you don't speak, for example, to do an initial cleaning of your audio file in order then to proceed to do the editing. But for example, this, I don't know how much, this is why it's there are many personal choices. Like there may be silences that you want inside. So, but there may be 5 of them. I don't know how easily this can be applied in AI, for example. So if it's not, if it's, the more you want to do it, to have a very personal style and all your choices to match what you specifically want, I think it would be better to do it by yourself. Clean transition. Yes, we said about that. Without people noticing it, it's the things that we were discussing. Then this is a video question from Robin, a green screen of a person or something moving from a video and layered over another video. It depends. It depends on what you want. Like in, this is something that if we discuss a bit on the next seminar about the reels that comes with editing for promotion of podcasting, there are, for example, if something is recorded on a green screen, then very easily can be mixed with something in softwares that are video editing softwares like Adobe Premiere. That is the one I use. That's why I'm saying it as an example. But if you record 2 things that are not meant to be linked, it's more difficult to look as it should, let's say. It would be a bit more messy. Super. So, based on the first questions that you sent and the things that we are discussing now that I'm speaking, if there are now extra thoughts that come from this conversation, also you can write it on the chat. And then we proceed on something that I want us to do together today.
Just I want to recognize the effort of Kiko, because I think he renamed himself in Greek letters. So that's the
Yes.
spirit for preparing for Athens.
But if you want to go even further, it's like this would be the first name, the one that you see in the chat. Yes. So this would be your Greek name. Super. So, okay. So now that we have our initial thoughts, we will try to apply some of the things that we discussed as questions also on the activity that we're going to do. And I want to ask you, since our next... Hello, Konstantinos. Since our next face-to-face seminar is going to be in Greece, who of you have a fairly strong opinion on your favorite Greek god or goddess from the 12 gods that we have? There must be. I see from Robin, but I don't know the god. I know the word, which means state in Greek.
Technically, I'm Iranian, but if you want, I can say some kind.
No, it can come from anyone, not from
Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, Ares.
one favorite.
One thing.
I see from Ileana Athena. Super. And I would like on the chat. I see from Anastasis Dionysus. Gianluca, is this Hades? After this is the what you were going for. I see Aphrodite from Alex, Poseidon, the god of hell, Ares. Oh, of war is Ares. Sorry, of
Hades,
hell.
Hades.
Hades. Of death also. Hermes used Jones. Now you're Schiavas.
There is a god. There's a god.
But you're right. You're writing about the god or about yourself?
No, about the Persian mythology. It's a god. He was a god.
Okay. Super. So there are different options. I see more than one Athena, more than one Aphrodite. I see more than one Dionysos. Okay, let's say, because I like the differences, I see Iuliana and Sarah about Athena, and I see Anastasis and Maria from Velos about Dionysos, and I want one of you from each of those gods to talk about those gods a bit. Who will be brave enough to help us with that activity, as famously Sandy did in the webinar that we did before Sevilla? So from the people that said Athena or Dionysos, I don't know in English, who would like to speak?
Can you hit me?
I see a raised hand, not technological, the actual hand from Anastasis. So we have Dionysos.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's the god of wine. Should I say anything else? I mean,
Okay,
he has-
hold your thoughts. Hold your thoughts, because you will need them. And
I mean that he had this attitude that throughout very various kind of festivities, you can overcome the earthly pain somehow and get into divine madness and some ecstatic.
Anastasi, use that as your rehearsal, because you will need to say them just in a bit, in a different context.
Okay.
I will tell you.
That's for me.
But you, Anastasis, are the one, and I want Athena. Come on. Don't be shy. And also, in all our questions, practice is our first answer. So, or any other goddess that feels like it more. Or I can choose, but I don't know if you want to be put on the spot like that. I will wait a bit more. Dun, 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 dun.
Siavas turned on his microphone. He's ready to.
I want,
I mean,
I want one of the Greek ones, not the Greek people, the Greek gods in this one.
He's a Greek god.
Siavas is a Greek god.
No, geez, no, the Poseidon. The
Poseidon.
god of the sea. Yeah, Poseidon is a god of the sea, god of the earthquake, and god of the horses. Technically, he's a brother of Zeus and Ares, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a cool guy. I mean, he's a god of the sea.
Siavas, you are watching you are in the seminar through your mobile, right?
Yes, sir.
Anastasi, you are through your PC.
Yep.
Okay, I want another one with a PC because I want you to use then your mobile. So this is another element that we want.
I'm in my. Okay.
I think Maria's smile tells us something.
That she's close to.
I was with Dionysus. Anastasis took my god.
Okay, no, I want different opinion. Sarah, I see one, Athena. How you feel about it? I don't see reaction from Sarah. Anyone who I see Sarah is smiling. Whoever I see smiling, you have to have a straight face. Sarah, you are smiling.
I didn't send anything. Is it another Sarah? Maybe.
Maybe.
This Sarah from Spain, yes.
Hey, Sarah. Yes, we will do that together.
What do I have to say?
I will tell you. But let's say, okay, we have two people. So, Sarah, you said Athena, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super. And Anastasis said Dionysus. And this time, as we did the last time recording, we will do, I want just for you to have your mobiles so we can do two recordings. One that Sarah is speaking and one that Anastasis is speaking. Okay? Deep breath, Sarah, deep breath. We will go through it together. No worries. And we will do a dialogue podcast. So you will record, Anastasia, on your mobile, your recording, and Sarah will do the same. But you will speak at the same time. We will hear the discussion. All of us will hear the discussion, okay? So there is a debate about who is the best god. So you have to make a case with a conversation in order to make a case on why my god is better than your god. Yes. Manageable, we can do it. Super. So what we will need is just you have your mobiles, and if you can find your recording app on your mobile. Super. And when we do that, all of us, we will close our audios except from Sarah and Anastasis. You will both do recording on your mobiles. It will be a 3-4 minute discussion. Make your main points, and then we stop this. You send me the files, and we start editing on the files. Yes, Anastasia, you can open your mic so I can hear you.
Yes, I like to keep my voice.
Yes, bro.
For the podcast.
The best warm-up exercise is silence. Like hold everything for the. Okay. So if you both have your mobiles, start the recording, even though we haven't started, it's okay. We will cut later the part that we don't need.
Should we hold them like that?
Yes, yes. Hold them
Okay.
somehow close so we have
Yep.
a good recording sound.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, check. Not that I
Super.
can hear it, but you know.
Yes. Sarah, you
Very
have your mobile.
Yes.
You have your recording software on it.
Yes.
So have you started it? Super. So you speak close to it. Anastasis, you can start the conversation like a conversation is starting in a podcast and include Sarah in it, and then you start your discussion. Okay, you have 3-4 minutes to do it.
Okay.
And you can close it somehow with a closing remark of whatever. It can be humorous, whatever. How we see how it goes.
Okay, you can give us a cue, like 1, 2, 3 action or something.
Yes, yes, yes. Everybody else, we have our mobiles closed, and let's enjoy and well done from before for your carrots, Anastasia and Sarah in their discussion. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Out of the Earth podcast. Because today I'm here with Sarah, and we're about to have a little debate about which god of the ancient Greece is better. My personal opinion is Dionysus, and Sarah, who is your god?
Athens?
So you're a
Athena?
fan of Athena?
Yes, I am. Athena is better.
Well, this is a thing that we have to check. So I will let you go first if you want. Tell me more what you like about her and what inspires you in her, maybe.
I don't know if you know the story of Athena. She was born because Zeus tried to, well, the story is that Zeus was going to have another baby, and that baby was going to be the king. So he tried to kill Athena's mother, but Athena was born anyways, and she was born in Zeus' head. They had to open Zeus' head in order to take her out, and she became one of the greatest Greeks goddess, associated with victory and justice and even war.
Okay, be told she's impressive. Okay, I knew that she was born from Zeus's head, and that's why she is also supposed to be the goddess of wisdom. And she had like a Freud with Poseidon, and she fought over the city. But okay, this is a big but.
What do you have to say?
I mean, okay, it's cool to be clever, but isn't it cooler to get drunk and have like this sort of great parties with people and speak all together, drink all together, maybe get even more, I don't know, intimate? Because Dionysus is all about that. He was supposed to be the god between the living and the dead, not Hades. This is a different god, but he had like this thing because he was like the soul of the party. He was in the Olympus and they were like, oh, Dionysus is here. When Athena entered the Olympus was like, I mean, she's clever. Okay, she has her own city. Maybe don't go near her. I don't know. So I think that maybe fans should be part of the discussion because it's cool to be born, from the head of the best god, the horniest god, probably, because, come on, he's Zeus. But what people needed at that time was a little bit more fun, I think. And that's why I chose Dionysus.
But I have a question for you. If you were a citizen from the ancient Greece, would you rather have your god or Athena in order to defend you? Because what he's going to do, drink wine to save you? He's going to create a flood to defend you? No.
Okay, this is a good point. I get it, but it's the thing is that if I was in ancient Greece and was about to have my city invaded by some people, I wouldn't mind it that much if I were drunk. I would be like, oh, okay, shit happens. We're in ancient Greece. We probably live around to be 25. I mean, that's the most we can hope for. So
Fair enough.
have some fun. It is like that. And also, I like the underdogs because Athena had her own city. Dionysus, they gave him some festivities and all that. So I'm rooting for him.
He was a humble god.
Yeah.
Vale.
So I think that we can both agree that both gods are important. The
Yes.
rest 10 can suck it. I mean, they can be also very good and important, but I don't know. Maybe we should have this discussion another time when I find more about each one of the two gods.
That would be amazing.
Perfect. And cut. Super. Well done. Excellent. Excellent. So I am writing on the chat. If you don't have it, my email. If it is easy to forward to me the two amazing files. Dialogue number one, quality chemistry, and you had chemistry. It was nice. It was nice. Super. So I'm waiting on the files, and then we'll start thinking, editing everybody. So we'll have some creative also questions that we have to decide on it. Alex, while I'm waiting for the files, if you can, with your mic turned down, send me a mobile sound that we will not hear. That is the opening tune, but with your voice. Like, it's the Gods Debate podcast, something. And send it to me, please. So I have Sarah's file. And I have also Anastasis
Received mine?
now. Yes, I'm downloading now. Super. So let's go. Should we have a sound every time we listen to the name of the god? What kind of sound could that be? It sounds like you can hear the Anastasis voice underneath. We will see now. So let me share here my screen.